One thing you touched on briefly is like on this kind of, I don't know, call it a continuum, right? Starting out with your message, moving into your demand gen, and then evolving into ABM. One thing I have noticed, I've talked a lot about that I think is interesting, is when people get to the point of ABM, it almost becomes this mantra of, well, okay, we don't need tech from ABM, right? ABM is just about, a coordinated sales and marketing play, which I think is true at the end of the day, right? You just need to get the right message to the right person. You don't necessarily need tech for it. Tech for sure helps to enable that, but it's almost like without knowing it, B2B marketers are like, hey, we should get back to basics on this. We should just get back to telling a story and working alongside sales to create opportunities with the right people. How do you feel about that? Do you think there's any truth to that?
I think that all marketing fundamentally is non-dependent on technology until we want certain levels of efficiency and scale, in which case we have no choice. So if you were a company where you said, you had these mega contracts, multi-billions of dollars, and there's defense contractors and other industries where that's very common, you would literally take the companies that you need to penetrate, which would be a few of them, you would deconstruct them. You would know all the players. You would know all the executives. You would know their backgrounds, their preferences, their histories. You would deconstruct that and you would say, how do we make contact? How do we engage? How do we begin conversation? How do we show value? How do we then start connecting the threads and understanding behind the scene what's going on? What's their pain points? I mean, ideally, we would be able to do that with every single customer. And I would say to some extent, we have, as marketers, said, well, sales will do that. Well, in account-based marketing, no, that should be done up front. You should have a profile and an understanding, and not just the politics and the structure and the evolution of acquisitions and positioning of their products in the marketplace, but who are they as people? What are they as a culture? What's being said about them on Glassdoor? All of those things you can do without technology. I think what it gets into, though, is now how do you consistently create these cadences of touch points and that? And that's where software comes into play.